Hello YouTubers, and welcome to another Doctor.Who action figure review. Today I shall be looking at the Ice Warrior figure and the Morbius monster. So I'll start with Morbius. Now this is the Morbius monster, and it is from the 1976 4-part Tom Baker story, The Brain of Morbius. One of my favourite stories. I love Brain of Morbius so much. So I'll go through the articulation on this figure. The arms can do a 360 and they're ball jointed. On the right arm you have the human Kondo arm, and you have tufts of fur there, and you've got all the different materials. Now the articulation on this part of the arm is really clever and fantastic. You got the swivel articulation here, and then you got tufts of fur, and then you have separate articulation with the human arm, because this human arm can do a 360 and can bend. So that's amazing. Really nicely articulated. And on the other arm, of course, that can do a 360 and can swivel. But on this arm, you have the claw, which Morbius uses to defend himself. So this claw can move up and down like that, like so. But I prefer to keep it open like that, because in case, like, in pose positions. So you got the big, massive clump of fur, which has been nicely sculpted on to cover up other things. Now this looks nothing as it was. This looks nothing like it was in the story, which is good, because the real thing didn't look as threatening or like a claw. But in this, you've got the teeth, you've got the markings, you've got the little bits in the paint job that makes it stand out. The articulation in the legs. Now the legs, they can do a 360, they can do a 360 swivel, and they can bend. That's all the legs articulation you got, and of course they can move up and down like that. But now moving on to detail. The detail on this figure is really nice. Oh yeah, and no articulation in the head, because the head never moved. You got little tufts of fur here. You got stitchings here. You got bits of wire. You got tufts of fur at the back. You got little rips in the skin, which makes it really good. And of course, the paint job is done nicely. The head is really good, because it looks exactly like the goldfish bowl head that he had. The purple bit is the brain, and all the bits inside are wires and buttons and all this kind of thing, metal and all this kind of thing. Up here you've got the hearing microphones. You've got the vision things that stick out, and they're painted gold. And they're painted bronzy gold and maroon red. So all in all, a really great figure. I highly recommend you try and track him down, because it's very nicely detailed, very nicely articulated, and it looks nothing like the prototype pictures. I mean, when you look at the prototype pictures on the internet, you think, oh well, it's not worth it, it's a bit of a pointless figure, to be honest, and all that kind of stuff. But then you buy the figure, you get it, and you think, oh, well, it's actually turned out to be a really good figure. Not a disappointment. Not a disappointment, I guarantee it. If you want this figure, buy it. So that's Morbius. Let's take a look at another amazing figure, and that is the Ice Warrior, from the 1967 6-part Patrick Troughton story, The Ice Warriors. Now, this figure is absolutely incredible. For a brand new figure, I'll go on with the article, and even better, it was from the Ice Warriors, because that's my favourite story out of the 4 that they had. So, I'll go over articulation. The articulation, you have 360-degree turn in the head. The arms are ball jointed, just like Morbius and the Sea Devil figures. The arms can bend, and the hands can do a 360-degree swivel. The legs can only move about much because the legs are glued to this part of the sculpted onto this part of the figure, rubbery part. The legs can do a 360-degree swivel, can bend, and of course the feet can do a 360. So that's a very nicely articulated figure as well. What I suggest they could have done is added swivel joints in the arms. That's what I would say they would improve. Moving on to detail now. The detail is excellent. Like in the head, you've got a paint job which is done of a dark green. And then in the mouth you've got a slightly lighter shade of green. Some people say it's darker, some people say it's lighter, but I'll say it's darker. You've got the eyes are made of a different piece of plastic, sort of red plastic, and then you've got and then that's just the mouth and the nose and all this stuff was just separate pieces of plastic that were already painted and were stuck on, and then they sculpted on the head. And they sculpted the helmet and stuff. Now you got all this scaly stuff that makes it that gives it that reptilian effect. You've got all these little tufts of fur. I mean, most of it is just made of rubber, because the main arm is made of rubber. It's hard. And on the backs are really interesting because it's got a very nice straight pattern. That's why I like these kind of Ice Warriors so much, because I like the pattern on the back. I'm not really that fond of them turning into something a bit more like that. That disappointed me. Yeah, so you have so you have scales, you have the scale markings here, you have more fur down the legs, the markings, scales here. However, the back of the legs, they're sort of smooth, and it's just been painted really different, really nice shades of green. Now, I think you know what I'm going to say. Where's its Sonic Blaster? Well, all the Ice Warriors had them. It's really confusing why didn't have them, because I swear when I last looked at the prototype pictures it had some, or when I saw this figure it had one, it was sort of painted silver, and but I suggest it was customized and it was just stuck on, which is what I should probably do. But yes, all in all, a very nice figure. I really recommend you try and track this figure down, and army build your Ice Warriors. Make your army of ice. Make an army of Ice Warriors. So I've got about another 2 of these guys because they're just so cool. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed my review of the Ice Warrior and the Morbius monster. My last 2 action figures are obviously the Earthshock Cyberman and the Bok robot. So I'll have to get that done. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again shortly.